Welcome to our overview for our Design 320 Week 11 assignment guide. This week we will be starting our customized design number 2. And again, as we've done before, we're going to focus on doing a design review in preparation of providing you you know, the um, the background and the concepts and the ideas that you can develop in doing your own design. You'll notice that we're going to do the same thing as we did 2 weeks ago, but this time you'll have had a little more experience, so it should be a little bit more straightforward for you. Should have sort of things, the process down a little bit better, so you can apply more thought, more detail, more conceptualization to the design work rather than going through, trying to figure out how this all works. But you're still learning, and so some of that is expected. And we'll do this again in our third design. So again, this is our customized design number 2, and we're going to focus on the design review process, which is really a design development process. And the goals are very similar to what we had previously. Okay, we're going to perform the first steps of a common design process. There will be some research into the design requirements and some existing designs that can influence your own design. And then it's always useful to take those existing designs and compare them against the design review criteria itself. That will help you focus, what the design need actually is and how much this needs to change or not. Now, realize that this is a design graphics class, so if you find something that perfectly meets the design, that's not quite going to do it. You need to do something more than that. You either need to find another design that you can add on to or make different or improve in some way. Again, this week, since it's week number 1 of the process, we're going to work with mass models for the design review. And then you'll do an initial design review for your own product or improvement. Okay, so that's our first step. Let's go ahead and see what our activity 1 looks like. We're going to study the design proposal document. And then there's slide 3 of the design review template, which is going to prepare a preliminary list of objective ways that each criteria could be assessed. Now, this is an added slide from the last design review. I realized after looking everything over that from the previous one that this is a part that is hard to do. So I've added a slide to help you organize and focus that. So that's an addition to the design review template. And then you'll complete slides 4 through 7 of the design review. Last time I asked for 2 or 3 different products that would help out, and I saw a lot of one product, and that's actually very common. That's just what happens the first time through. There's only so much you can do. So this time I've added a few extra slides to be able to do it. So let's take a look at slide 3. Well, let's go through these one at a time. First, there's the executive summary to review. Okay, let's see what that looks like. This is very similar. Here's what we started with in the executive summary, but now we're moving on to another part of it. And so you should read this over and see. Now we're going to talk about some site specifics and the planner, the owner, and I know this is small. And so my goal is not to do this for you. You need to get into this slide and read it yourself. But there's some information about something called a common area. And then there's a specification of what the owner wants in that common area. And then there's a theme. Let's talk about that a little bit. When you do a design, often, especially this is going to be a landscape or exterior architecture or outdoor architecture job, usually there's some sort of theme that goes along with your design. Not so much so in mechanical projects like we did last time, but this one's a little different. And so you want to be thinking along these lines that how would you impart this feel or understanding of this theme in this area that you're designing. And the theme that has been chosen by the client is you can't make grass grow by pulling on it. And here's a little gif of that going on right there from Tenor.com. I thought it was a very interesting one. And they have a nice embed code, so I know that I can put it into my presentation. So somehow you want to impart this feel or this understanding or this knowledge that you can't make grass grow by pulling on it. The goal here is why it goes along with a foster youth support is that many times people want to, pull the foster youth this way or make them grow, pull them up, and really force them to develop in a certain way. And this idea is that it's much better to grow grass by giving it fertile soil, giving it nutrients, and giving it the water it needs, and caring for it, maybe pulling some weeds here and there. And so if you can somehow pull this concept together as you're looking at it, at your design, how will you incorporate something that brings that theme to the front? So there's an executive summary about the site. Here's a copy of the template, which I have pulled up over here at the side. And so this is much the same. There's the stakeholders, read the design review scope and requirements, and ensure that the specifications are correctly identified on slide 2. So you're going to have to compare slide 2 over here with the specifications from the site specifics. And then I've asked you to do just a little bit more. Find an image that sort of works for you, okay? Also, you'll notice here we have a site resource file. There's a Revit file and a SketchUp file. So you can choose to work in either Revit or SketchUp as you go through this project. Okay, so that's the activity 1, and really the only thing that you have to do on that is add an image over here. But now we want to go to slide 3. So let's look at slide 3. It says to complete this. And note the criteria for the basis of the design. Here's the criteria: weather resistant, durable, easy to store, DIY compatible, sustainable, and comfortable. Basically, you're creating an outdoor common area. Let's take a look. That's about 900 square feet. It's got an outdoor cooking space, an outdoor eating space, an outdoor seating area, some sort of permanent shade structure, and some drought-tolerant planting. So as you do your comparison, it's important to know how you're going to measure weather resistance. And let me zoom in over here so you can see this. I wish this had a little bit better zoom. I wish it had the window zoom. But you need an objective measurement, something you can measure, or some observable features that you can use to validate characteristics. So for weather resistant, you might look at the ratings of materials to find out if they're weather resistant. And there are weather resistant ratings. Or you might just say, well, if it's made out of this material or this material, I will count it as weather resistant. Same with durable. Will it last? Easy to store, DIY compatible, sustainable, and comfortable. So these are your thoughts. What will you use as you're doing your design review to say, yep, that is weather resistant, that is durable, so on and so forth. So that's what I'm looking at here. I want you to write something in this square, in this cell, that will let me know how you're measuring, how you're determining, how you're validating each of these design review criteria. And if you need help on that, you can ask me. You can send me an email or come and meet me on my office hours, or you can come to lab if you don't have a good idea on those already. And everybody might come up with different ones on this. That's perfectly fine. So that's your slide number 3. Okay, then we're going to go on to slides 4, 5, 6, and 7. And let's see what that says. So 4, link to resource sites for existing design concepts. So we did that again last time, but I've updated the template to be a little bit more visually pleasing. You'll put the name of the source. Let me, sorry, I'm in the middle of this. I gotta get out of that. There we go. You'll put the name of the source here and then put the link in to it. Okay, and then you'll select an image from that source to put in here. Okay, so for each of the 3 resource sites that help you figure out your design, base your design on, have aspects that you like. And it's very rare that you're going to find one site that has all of the aspects that you want. So you might have to have 2 or 3 and say later on, from one site, I notice this, 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 and this, and those are features that I want to accommodate. And from number 2, this, another thing, and another thing, and here are new things that I want to accommodate, and number 3. So each of these slides, number 1, number 2, and number 3, will have resource images from these sites that you found that are going to help you move forward with it. Okay? So that's your slides 4 through 7. And I will add additional videos here to help you demonstrate each one of those. Okay, on our next slide, activity 2, this is much as we did before. We're going to take one existing design and do a design review of it. So study one of them in detail. Now, normally we would study all 3 of these and do a design review of all 3 of these and synthesize, bring those all together. But you're still learning how to do that, and that might take a little bit too much time. If you want to, you can add slides to do that. But the expectation is that you'll choose one of these and do a design review of it. And that design review is done on slide 8. Okay, so this study 1, I don't really have a slide for that. It's really just looking over your annotations and your notes and seeing if they're complete and well-founded and done well. And so here's your design review that we did of your existing design. That's much like we did before. You'll go back to your slide number 7. This should be slide number 5, 6, or 7. Okay, so you'll choose one of these that you're going to do, and you'll do whether it's weather resistant, durable. And now we have something to hang our hat on, because if you say it's weather resistant, we should be able to go up here and identify, oh yeah, it's made out of, or it has a certain rating, or it folds up and gets out of the way when it rains, or whatever you mean by weather resistant. And so when you check mark these, which you all did very well in number one, when you check mark these, you'll be able to know, but you still have to point at them. And so now, when you do this design review, many people pointed out one or two things. You want to point out, make, say why it's weather resistant. You want to put an arrow to it so that you can identify, and then put a few more little notes rather than just the yes. So we want this to be well annotated. Okay, and then the last one for this activity, which is review the existing products and design review criteria. Come over here, and then this says choose the features to use. Well, you have to do all of those, right? So you're gonna present and annotate a review of one existing design, but now you're going to identify which features of that design you're going to use. Okay. In the previous one, you're just doing a design review against the criteria. Number 9 is a little bit different. You're going to say, this feature right here, this outdoor cooking, I am going to use something similar in concept to that. And this outdoor eating feature, I'm going to use something similar to that. Okay. And maybe you'll say, this one, I'm going to do a totally different outdoor seating or a different drought tolerant planting plan. So this is from the one that you chose in number 8, identify the design specifications. Okay, this is a design review to see if it's meeting these criteria, and this is the specification, the features, the things that have to be there. Okay, so that's your activity number 2. And then our activity number 3 is to choose which program you want to use. So review the Revit and the SketchUp resource files that you started with and decide which one you'd like to use. They're pretty much similar. Make a copy of that file that you can work in on your own. Okay, so that should be in your Google Drive then, or on your network drive if you're in VMware. Create a simple mass model, and you will see in the video when I have it posted for you what I mean by a simple mass model. We're not trying to find the actual parts. You're just getting a conceptual mass model that you can use to create the layout and see where the pattern looks like and how will people be able to move around. And here is also where you'll want to see if your theme is being reproduced. How are you going to address the theme? And so this design review should include the theme. And so I might even put a little check mark down here if you think it's useful. But somewhere on this annotated drawing, you should explain how your design is going to impart the idea, or is based upon, or is invigorated by the theme. Okay, and then we're going to go back to this is going to be this one should be slide. Sorry about that. I've changed these. This one is slide. I have to go back and check these slides out. So your mass model goes on number 10. Let me get that right. Complete slide 10. Okay. So that's your slide 10. Okay, that's it. That's your complete your mass. Oh no, sorry about that. That one was okay. Here it is. Complete your slide 10. Okay, so here was your number 9 where you chose what you're going to do. Here's where you present your mass model on slide 10. And on slide 11, I don't know why I have that. Okay, so I've got these wrong. This one's slide 11. There we go. Now I got it right. Okay, slide 10 was your annotations for improvement up here. Okay, 9. I need to get my slides corrected. Okay, so slides 9 and 10, this is your choose the features that you're going to use. I have to go back and fix these slide numbers. I'll do that. And number 10 is annotations for improvement. And then slide 11 is your model and a quick design review. Okay, so that's the that's where we are for this week. Your mass model will be, again, a pretty straightforward and simple one, using mostly blocks and cylinders to represent physical items. If you were doing this in flat layout, we would call it a bubble diagram, where you just draw bubbles around where you want things to be. But this is a 3D bubble diagram, so they call it a mass model. Okay, there we go. There's your overview of, let's go back to the front, your week 11 assignment guide, customized design review number 2. It is essentially a landscape model for a group of tiny homes that will support a foster youth group. And the theme is, we'll get it exactly right. Your theme is you can't make grass grow by pulling on it.